here with you with another amazing episode. And my name is Seema Giri, your host. Today, our very special guest is Pamela Plick. And one of the things that I love about Pamela is that we have so much in common. Pamela Plick mission to empower women to confidently build wealth from the inside out, providing the education, strategies, and tools to grow financial confidence, security, and freedom. Pamela is a certified financial planner, practitioner, certified money coach, and CEO founder of Pamela Plick Wealth Management. In addition to that, she is a speaker, show host, and best-selling author of Rise to Your Money Power, a step-by-step guide for building the foundation for an empowered relationship with money. Her work has been highlighted in numerous media, including the Huffington Post, USA Today, and Forbes. Welcome, Pamela. I'm so happy to have you here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Seema. I'm so glad to be with you.
And I love the work that you do because I think it is so important for women to really learn how to be more independent in the financial area. I know still today, although we've had a lot of education, we are so much more aware of than when I guess when our parents were growing up, our mothers. Um, but I still see a lot of women leaving the financial aspects and the banking aspects and growing the money aspects to their husband, including me. So you can feel empowered in one area, but I love the approach of having women be empowered holistically. And while I help women get empowered in the sense of, owning their story, removing the limiting beliefs, and knowing that they can be themselves in their own authentic way and have that power. The money, there'll be a dynamite to go. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Excited for this conversation.
So tell me, Pamela, how did you get started in this work?
Well, my story actually it started years ago and it actually was propelled by my divorce. At the time, everything was planned. I except the divorce, and um, my ex-husband and I separated when my son was 2 years old, and ultimately, we did get divorced. And although I had a great entry level position in banking, but I had not planned on being the sole breadwinner and solely responsible for my son. And so it was a very scary time. And I also found myself a little resentful and angry, and what I did is, and I also thought that as I was building my career, I my plan was to work hard, which is what I did. But although I knew how to save, I was pretty good at saving, but I did not have a practical financial plan. I didn't know about building investments or wealth over time. And so I dived into learning everything that I could about financial planning, building wealth, and also really taking a look at what I needed to shift. Because yes, I was promoted. Yes, I climbed the corporate ladder, but at the expense of less time with my son. And so after years of burnout, I really had to step back and take a look at what I truly wanted out of life. What was my vision? How could I realize that vision? And I also had to get get past some of the limiting beliefs about, was I really worthy of the financial freedom and the life that I deserved? How could I learn forgiveness? And so I stepped into more education. I also stepped into getting the support that I needed. I realized that I needed to forgive not only my ex husband, but myself for what I felt was failure. in
Mm.
that situation, and spending less time with my son. And so once I did that and got the clarity, I knew that I wanted to own my own business, and I wanted to support other women like myself who were going through the transition and not knowing how to step on the other side. And so I'm so grateful today that I have an awesome practice, a thriving practice that I love, working with the type of clients that I love, and not only with the financial freedom that I desire, but also the freedom of time to be able to spend with my son. Also doing things that I love to do, and being able to make an impact in the world as well. And so I'm just so grateful to that where I am today.
Well, that's amazing journey, Pamela, and I'm so glad you took those steps that was needed at the time to get to where you are today. One of the things you said that stood out that I would like to circle back to, because I think that our listeners understand better and relate to themselves. You said that you were resentful and you had anger. What was that towards?
The anger was towards some of it was towards my ex-husband, being put in the situation because, like I said, everything was planned. Now I married because I was in love, and but
Mhm.
everything was planned except the divorce. And I think the majority, not the fact that we ultimately divorced, but the fact that I had to be solely responsible, you
Mhm.
know, um, for my family. And I think that's where the anger came in. And and like I said, I had to learn how to practice forgiveness, because when we hold that anger in, it as you know, it's energy, and it stifles our creativity, and it also limits us from moving forward. So again, I did some work and practiced, ultimately forgave him, and also forgave myself, because what I perceived as a failure, the marriage being a failure. But looking back, it wasn't. It was a catalyst to move me forward onto the path that I'm on today.
Right. Thank you for that. It is when we are going through these difficult times, there's a lot of anger that comes up, and I found that when the anger comes up, it's hard to understand where it's coming from and how to resolve it. But I found through myself and working with my clients is that once you can understand where that anger is coming from, once you can identify that, then you can work through it. You know what to do. And anger is uh, it's a natural occurrence to happen when you're going through your difficult time. But the other thing you pointed out, Pamela, was that you can't stay in there for too long. You need to accept and feel that it's there for a little bit, but then you have to move on, like you did with forgiveness. And the other thing I love what you said is forgiving yourself. Sometimes we don't realize that we need to forgive ourselves as well. That yeah, it takes two to clap, and whatever reasons things didn't happen as planned, like you said. But it's okay. Let's pick up and move from here. And that's when we feel like we've lost our power. But you were saying, you in your experience, Pamela, you've seen some other surprising and unrealized ways. Excuse me. You found some other ways of surprising ways and unrealized ways of how women give away their money power. What are they?
Absolutely. There's three common ways that I see that women give away their money power, and the first way is by having someone else manage their finances. And I know you mentioned this earlier, but Honestly, we should not blindly turn over the management of our finances to anyone. Not saying that we shouldn't have a financial advisor or trusted advisor. Yes, we do need to have that, but you need to be a partner in that relationship, because at the end of the day, it's your money. And I do see a lot of women who are uh, married or in committed relationships where they do turn over the management of the money to a spouse, and it is common that one spouse usually takes care of the day to day finances, but there really it should be a partnership as well. Periodically, you need to sit down and talk with them, because either one of you should be able to step in case of an emergency or something happens to the other spouse. And then the second way that we give away our money power, and I'm sure if all for those of you who are moms can relate, by taking care of putting others' needs ahead of our own. As women, we're typically, historically, we are brought up to be the caregivers, right? We're the nurturers. We are taught to take care of everyone else before ourselves. And, it's not selfish to put yourself first, it's self full. Because, for those of us who want to live or strive to live a purpose filled life, we need to keep our spiritual cup full, right? What's inside the cup is for us, what spills over is for others, for those that, that depend upon us, or that that we care about in our lives. And with my clients, I tell them that, the best thing that you can do is to be financially independent in your older years, so that you don't end up being a burden to your children, you know. And the third way, which is the number one way that I see that we give away our money power, is through procrastination.
Mm.
A lot of times, if we don't know what to do, we just don't do anything, or we put off making those important financial decisions. Or even as business owners, not wanting to look at our financials, making time to know where we are in our business. So um, the good news is, with procrastination, it's easily overcome. And the way that we overcome it is through financial education. Getting the education, getting the support that you need, so that you can make those informed decisions.
That's true. And based on what you said, Pamela, I guess the first thing would be courage, is having the courage to look at those numbers and understand what they are, co-creating with your partner, making sure you know they can manage everything, but you need numbers like the back of your hand. And putting others first, and procrastination, I totally get that. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So when you're going through these challenges, you need to see what other areas of your life it's affecting how you're being. And education certainly is a big part of that. What do you see is the greatest challenge women struggle with when it comes to stepping into their money power?
Yeah, the greatest challenge that I see is allowing our limiting beliefs and our emotions drive our decisions. Um, like when I mentioned earlier, one of my limiting beliefs was that I had to work really, really hard in order to get ahead.
Mhm.
Um, Another limiting belief was maybe I wasn't worthy of the the life that I desired. Um, and so thinking about what are those limiting beliefs, and commonly I hear from, especially from women entrepreneurs, thinking about, some of them are saying, well, I'm not good with money. And that is a limiting belief, because like I said, that's easily overcome, by educating yourself and getting the right support. Or I'm not able to make money doing what I love. So those beliefs hold us back from taking the inspired action, taking bold actions to create uh, the the dreams that we want to create.
Pamela, when you say that, what comes to my mind is practice. Every day, take look at those numbers, with it, accept where you are, and then start taking the baby steps. Baby steps count.
Absolutely, absolutely. And other thing, that I also tell women to do is, make a commitment to read at least one piece of financial information every day. That, and that's an easy way to get the knowledge that you need, making sure that you get support. There's communities. I actually have a community as well, where you can be in a group of like-minded women who are on a similar path, and getting that support, that you need along the way.
It blows my mind, Pamela, when I hear women say, and I'm guilty of that too. I get into that flow every now and then. But especially when it comes to money, we expect ourselves to know everything about it and be perfect at it. When we are those of us who have children, or those who have clients that we're working with, we're so compassionate with them, and we tell them, the words come out of our mouth that, you can't expect to be perfect of something you've never done before. You start at step one, and you build that muscle, like you said, on a daily basis. But when it comes to ourselves, we expect us to be experts, and then don't look at it because we're not that. So I think the other thing that I would say is that compassion towards yourself as you are building this muscle is very important too.
Absolutely. We need to extend the same passion or compassion that we would give to a friend. If we're having a conversation and the friend is telling you these things, you're going to be compassionate with your friend. Extend that same compassion to yourself, because um, it's not going to be perfect. And remember, life is a journey, right? It's not a destination. So, and I think the other thing too is to build that your resilience muscle, because things happen, right?
Mhm.
Unexpected things happen in life, divorce, whatever, whatever ups and downs happen, but your ability to bounce back and how fast you're able to bounce back will actually determine your success.
And well, you don't have to do it alone, right? That's the other thing. You don't have to do it alone. You can hire experts like you, join communities like yours to build that, know that you're not alone. I get the same thing about book writing. People say, I can't write because I've never done it before. Well, that's true. But if you start writing, if you're a business owner, we have to write copies for our business, we have to write speeches, we get support in those things. But that's how you build the muscle. You're writing different things every single day, and you're building that muscle. And then you have support of editors and coaches, and so you're not doing it alone, and you're saving so much time by working with someone, and they know your blind spots. Many people think, yes, I can do it myself. Do yourself to a great extent, but you'll never know what your blind spots are unless you have that expert looking at it with you,
Yes,
working
absolutely.
with you.
Absolutely. And the other thing I want to mention about that, about writing the book, you know, uh, I never thought of myself as an author years ago, but I knew I had a message. I had a
Mhm.
message inside me that I wanted to get out. And I made the decision that, finally, that yes, I wanted to write a book. And, you know, after co authoring 4 books, so 4 books later, then I finally wrote my own book. And, what we, what aspiring authors don't realize too is that we already have the content, right? If we've been writing blogs or doing workshops or whatever it might be, our programs, you have so much content. But it wasn't until I got support, that I realized that, oh, this is not as hard as I thought it was going to be. And I was able to get my book done, and I'm excited that it was an Amazon bestseller. Didn't expect that, but I'm happy about that as well. And I got, the most important thing is that I got the message out, out of me and into the world.
That's yes. Thank you for sharing that. That's the most important thing is to get your message out. And you co-authored a chapter in 4 books, built that
Mhm.
confidence, and wrote your own book. And that's the perfect way to get started. So, Pamela, tell me, how does our personal relationship with money impact our success?
Yes, I truly believe that our personal relationship with money directly impacts how successful we are, not only in our personal lives, but also in our businesses. And what I mean by that is if we don't have a good relationship with money, then it's going to steal our eagerness to take those bold actions, and not just random actions, but inspired actions that are going to lead us to where we want to be. It also can create a sense of overwhelm or trigger self-doubt, in whether, our vision is truly possible or not. And it also causes us not to express our unique fully express our unique gifts, because what I know is when we can take the fear out of building financial freedom, then that frees us up to bring our unique gifts into the world in ways that have the greatest impact.
How can you tell, Pamela, what is your relationship with money? I mean, I think the first thing that comes up is like, oh, the overall fear. But is there a way to get to the root cause of that fear?
There is. Now I actually have a money type quiz that's on my website, and it's an easy way to really identify what your current relationship is with money. Um, and from there you can identify what's showing up for you, because what we don't realize is that our our beliefs about money are imprinted upon us as children.
Mhm.
If we think about, how was money talked about in our household? Was it even talked about? Was there a feeling of prosperity or a feeling of lack? And what were some of the things that you heard about money? Some common things that come up. And it's interesting. Money is the root of all evil, which is a misquote from the Bible. It's the love of money, but that's a common um, limiting belief. And So thinking about whether it's in your household, the caregivers that you grew up with, whether it's society, or your friends, or even sometimes it's cultural beliefs, and it also can be religious beliefs. So thinking about, what were those beliefs that were instilled upon you, and how are they showing up in your life today, in ways that no longer serve you. Okay, so understanding what your current relationship with money is. And then it's also knowing that money beliefs are generational. You can stop that right now. You can change your money story. You don't have to continue to live someone else's money story. And that's, it takes some work, but you can shift that.
I'm so happy you said that it is generational and it is an imprint from our parents and generational, and that the fear that we may be having about the money is not even your own.
Hmm.
So that's a great way of looking at it from your family as well. I know as an
Yeah,
immigrant, we had to work really hard. So what's been imprinted in me is that you have to work really hard and you have to struggle to earn money, which at that time it was true, not so much anymore. And I don't even know to what effect it was true at that time, but it's hard. It's been hard for me to release that it's not mine. But it's a continuous work, so it is possible, and it's not hard for everyone. I want to put it out there. It's been difficult for me, but it doesn't need to be for everyone else. So go with that mindset that what is your own money belief, what has been passed down to you from your family, and and let go. You can create, Pamela. What I'm hearing from you is that you can create your own money story today.
absolutely, absolutely. And I also want to share, one of the exercises that I take my clients through in my program is a money bio. So we first thing we do is we talk about what was your first memory of money. Was it a positive memory or was it a memory that you perceived was negative? And then we go, age by age and identifying what those beliefs were, or are, and where they originated from. And I also want to mention that there are three aspects of money, or three pillars of money that we need to address in order to create an empowered relationship with money. And that is our spiritual, our emotional, as well as the practical side. And the
Mhm.
practical side or aspect is when we take action. That's taking action. And we all know that we need to look at our financials. We all know that we need to create a budget or pay down debt or whatever it might be. But if you know what you need to do on the practical side and you're not doing it, then there's something that needs to be healed in the other two areas. And
Mm.
so, in order to have that thriving, empowered relationship, we need to address all three.
That is so interesting. Your program sounds really great, Pamela. And I think that this is the first time, not the first time, well, you're one of the second people that I've heard talk about the three pillars: the spiritual, the practical. I'm sorry, what was the third?
The spiritual, the emotional, and the practical.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And you could be stuck in one of those three. Excuse me. You could be stuck in one of those three if you're not really aware of what's going on. Interesting. So, Pamela, what is the number one way to begin immediately to own your money power and move more and abundantly?
Sure, the number one way is to create the new money story. So kick that old money story to the curb, make a decision, set an intention that I am going to create a new money story from this day forward. And there's a couple of ways to do that, a couple of steps to doing that. The first thing is to create your vision. Create that big grand vision, write it out. I'm a big fan of reviewing it. I have my vision it's on my computer and I read it every day. And not just related to money, but in all aspects of your life, whether, it's your business or career, spiritual, personal, what do you want your life to look like? And then the next step is to understand those limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Because if you have a big vision to have, a thriving business with a certain type of clients, a certain type of income, and you have the belief in the back of your head, I don't know if I can make money doing what I truly love, we need to, shift those beliefs. And then the next step is to empower yourself with financial education and support. Like I said earlier, joining a community, a supportive community, reading a piece of financial information every day, attending workshops, just getting that education that you need. And then lastly, to take inspired action. And inspired action comes from really knowing, understanding what your vision, right, and your values, what's really important to you, and out of that, you take the inspired action to create your goals and take and the action steps that are going to propel you towards your vision.
Great advice. So you can to change your money story and own your power. Really step into it by changing your money story, getting education, and taking action. If you don't take action, nothing is going to change, nothing is going to move. So don't be one of those people that just say education from all aspects and all aspects of what you're trying to do. Nothing is going to change unless you take that action. And get accountability partner. Work with a coach, with a mentor that you resonate with to really help you bring that change. Pamela, when I started working with coaches, excuse me, when I started working with coaches in different areas, I propelled faster. My life changed a lot faster because on the days that I didn't want to do anything, I had that support and accountability with my coaches to get things done. And I think that I would not be where I am today. So it's
Right.
very important. How can people get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me, I'm on all of the social media platforms, so I love to connect with you there. But if you go to pamelaplick.com uh, /thank you. I have some resources, free resources to help you move forward on your path towards creating the financial freedom that you desire and the life that you deserve. And there's also, if you'd like an opportunity to talk with me one on one, there's a link to my schedule there as well.
And you can get all of those links in the show notes that we will put. Pamela, is there any one last word of advice you'd like to give?
I want to close with this quote, and it's a quote that I absolutely love. It's a quote from the Dalai Lama. He said this a while ago. He said, "The Western woman will save the world." And I truly, truly believe that. And it may not just be the Western woman, but women will save the world. But in order for us to do that, we need to make sure that we are getting rid of those or shifting those limiting beliefs so that we can bring our gifts into the world in a bigger, bolder way.
I truly believe that too, Pamela, because women are the women are the central pillars in the family. And women are the central pillars of the family where everything is the whole family dynamics is around. And what you believe is what you're going to pass on. Children don't just listen to what you're saying, but they also see what you do. So when you make that change in yourself, you're changing the lives of all those around you just by taking those actions. And people watch what you're doing, they see where you've been and where you're going. And I also believe that by you taking these actions and stepping into your power, you are releasing the generational hold and the generational imprint that you've had. And I believe, Pamela, I've seen that our generation has been one of the catalysts of starting this whole generational release of limiting thoughts and beliefs that have been passed down.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I feel that this is the best time in history to be a woman because the impact that we're making and the legacy that we can leave, to our future generations.
Yeah. So, our listeners, if you're listening to this, I hope key takeaways, do let us know in the comments of what what you resonated with, and what was one key takeaway that you had that you're going to take action on. This is a great time to start. I hope this really empowered you to start thinking about what are the changes that you need to make and into your power. And I also am talking to those who are already on a great path to money. See how you can step into even more into your power and really help your community around you make those changes as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us today, Pamela. Have you here? And
Oh,
to our,
thank you.
and to our listeners, thank you so much. And I will see you on the next episode.